I think we'll just call our Design Review Board to order. And Clerk, do you want to take attendance?
So noted.
Okay. Everybody's here?
Everybody's here. This is an easy one.
Okay, so it looks like, are we going to first open this up for public comment?
That's correct.
So if you'd like to make any public comments, please come up to the microphone and state your name and address. And we usually give you about 3 minutes. Right up.
I have a question though.
Oh, goodness.
Well, could you come up here and you can address us?
Hello.
Over
Let's
here.
step up to that podium.
With the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sandy Schmidt. But I have a question about the public comment. It's about an item on the agenda that I have some concerns about. Would I bring that up now? I mean,
Yes.
it's kind of out of order.
No, you can bring it up. That's the
Now.
purpose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
All right. It's regarding 1975 Orchard Lake Road.
I can call it the site plan if that helps.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And if we could go to landscaping.
Yep.
There should be another one. There. Okay. I live at 1975 Wellington, which is adjacent to this property, just south, okay? What appears to be a Norway spruce proposed at the corner of Orchard Lake Road in Wellington, I have some serious concerns about that. It would block the view from Wellington to be able to see oncoming traffic coming out from Orchard Lake Road, both pulling out of Wellington and pulling off of Orchard Lake Road. You wouldn't be able to see vehicles in the way.
Is that the one you're referring to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So then, if we go south to the other circles, there are 3 that I believe are also to be Norway spruce. My driveway runs right along there, and that will block my view of being able to pull out of my driveway. I won't be able to see oncoming traffic. It's been wild enough over the years that I've lived here. It's not a good idea. Plus, they've got 2 Norways in my driveway. So that's my public comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there anybody else would like to come up and address the board at this time? Any public comment? If not, we'll close public comment and ask for approval of the minutes from our December 18th, 2024 meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Support.
Support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, done. Okay, so we have some, first item up is their signs at 2519 West Maple Road.
Yes. Quite an audience we have today for our Design Review Board meeting. So the first item on the agenda is a request for a wall sign to be located at a Dandelion Kids is the proposed tenant for the space. This is located south of Maple Road at Cranbrook. The proposal is for Dandelion Kids. It's a resale, high-end resale boutique for children. The applicant did go through the regulated use and did get approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Anytime we have secondhand sales within the township, the applicant is required to comply with the dispersal requirements under regulated uses. So I just want to point out that the store and the use has been approved. So now they're coming forward with their sign request. Highlighted on the screen here, you can see that the parcel is zoned B1. It's a business classification, immediately abutting the residential to around it. And this is the proposed sign, and you can see that it is and they're also proposing where it's going to be located on the building. The proposal is for a approximately 20 square foot sign, and that does comply with the provisions of the B1 zoning district in which they would be permitted to have a sign up to 25 square feet. So they come in undersize, and we also did have the applicant just so we could verify that the dandelion, which is in our opinion a logo, and in the ordinance we do not permit logos to be more than 5% of the sign. In this instance, the applicant is permitted to have a .96 logo, and they're proposing .95, so they do comply. So this is a sign that would be permitted. There would be no variances that would be required. It will be internally illuminated, and it does meet the projection requirements from the wall. And so, overall, it does comply with the requirements of our zoning ordinance. And with that, I believe that we probably have the applicant here to answer any questions, and as well as myself.
I have no questions.
Good afternoon. My name is Renee Wenner from Sinorama.
Hi.
Hi.
Mine looks great,
Yeah.
Great.
and it's in compliance, so I don't really have any questions.
Oh,
but-
okay. Excellent. No questions?
No?
Okay.
Thank
Thank you.
Great. Good luck to the store, too. So I move we approve the sign as presented.
I support that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations. Okay, B, site improvement 6676 Telegraph Road for Andiamos.
Okay, this proposal is for site improvement to be located on the property of Andiamo, which is located within the Bloomfield Plaza Shopping Center parking lot. I think we're all pretty familiar with this location at Maple and Telegraph. The applicant, the Andiamo, as you are aware, has recently undergone some upgrades and updating, and this is a continuation of these site improvements. Currently on the site, if you drive behind the building, which would be not visible at all from Telegraph, there is a ground-mounted mechanical area that the applicant is requesting to install a 6-foot-high fence. They're also requesting to include a vine-type screening material. This is similar to some of the applications that you've seen on Bloomfield Plaza, so it's not a complete departure. But I do want to point out that due to the height of the fence being over 4 feet, and also because our ordinance requires that ground-mounted mechanicals are screened with vegetation or screened with materials to match the building, they would also have to seek a variance for the screening. So the applicant is here today asking you for this proposal as you see before you. And I believe they can also explain to you why their request is to go with this application as opposed to natural vegetation. I did go out there and take a site visit, and I will agree that it would be an improvement. This area definitely should have some screening provided to it. And in our opinion, this is not visible from Telegraph Road, like I stated earlier. With that, I can answer any questions, but this would require a trip to the Zoning Board of Appeals for the height and for the alternative request for screening that doesn't comply with our ordinance. So with that, we have our applicant. And you can see highlighted on your screen here the area that would be proposed to be screened.
Good afternoon. Dennis Geis, owner representative. Do you have any questions?
So this is in the back corner of the building, correct?
Correct.
And I go there regularly to get pickup. It's very nice. They bring it right out to your car, which is awesome. Would that block any view of, because that's kind of a turn where traffic is coming and going through there?
Right.
You think that has any visibility issues with traffic coming and going down that? Because that's a road that goes straight back behind the mall then too.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't think it will. It'll be far enough off the curb that it won't have any issues. And there used to be vegetation there. It used to have a bunch of arborvitaes there that had all died because there's really not, everything in that parking lot, all the snow and all the salt gets pushed up against all that stuff. So it all died and we had to take it out. So that's the reason we're asking for it not to be vegetation and going with this option.
I've seen more people use that. Do you have to clean that regularly?
No.
Is it
No.
pretty, like, it's durable, obviously?
Yeah, it's
but-
durable and it's, nothing more than any other exterior product that we'd put on the building.
Questions? Any questions?
I think it's a good
Yeah,
solution.
it's definitely an upgrade.
Okay, want to make a motion?
So
Go ahead.
I'll move that we approve the submission and send it on to the Zoning Board of Appeals for 2 variance requests.
Is there support?
Support?
All in favor, say aye.
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 All in favor? Yep, sounds good, we're
All
good.
right, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Okay. Next item is 1975 Orchard Lake Road, the office building.
Okay, so this is actually the site plan in which the resident made comments about earlier regarding the landscaping. As you can see on this aerial, it's a unique configuration, the way that it almost appears to be located right along the right-of-way or almost in the right-of-way, the location of this building. So I just want to point that out. It's a little unique in terms of the placement of the building on the site. So with that, the applicant did come before you not too long ago asking for some upgrades to this existing building. We do have a photograph of this. This was the building before the applicant has now taken over ownership and is looking to do improvements. So after their previous approval, our building officials noticed that there had been some changes to the roof line that were not previously approved. So therefore, we notified the applicant and told them that politely that they need to kindly return back to the zoning design review board, where they have now are providing this rendering, which shows now the transom windows, which are being added to the upper portion of the building, as well as increasing the building height, which still does comply with the overall height within the B1 zoning district. So they're not going above and beyond anything that would be permitted. And so what they're asking for today is the installation of the landscaping, which I assume there'll probably be a conversation about based on the public comment, as well as the paint color that they're showing, the new windows, as I stated, which will be framed out in a black color, as well as the higher roof, as I stated. Additionally, with this request, I do want to point out that they are asking for approval for a sign, the ground sign, which is proposed in the front yard, in the B1 zoning classification. The applicant is permitted to have a sign with one side not more than 32 square feet. And in this instance, the applicant is proposing, let me find it here. The applicant is proposing this sign. It's an aluminum paneling with a backlit metal logo. And the sign itself comes in at 21 square feet, so it does come in compliance in terms of the size. I also want to note that they were able to push the sign back to a point where they are able to comply with the 25-foot setback for the ground sign. So this ground sign, they're showing the inspiration there to the right, so you can get an idea of sort of what the illuminated look would look like. And this is illustrating their business, as well as adding boxwoods that would be located behind the sign. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, as well as the applicant is here that maybe he could speak to some changes as it relates to some of the concerns with the landscaping. But I do think the landscaping, as you can see in the aerial, I think part of it has to do with the fact that that building is located where it is. So I can understand that there could be a little concern in terms of that site view from Orchard Lake.
Yeah, it's a busy road.
Yeah.
That's a great looking new design. Yeah, wonderful to see that.
So with that, I can answer any questions, or if Mr. Colano would like to come up as well and answer any questions.
So you said this is an existing, they already did the work?
They did start framing out and increasing the height of the building, but then they have since had a stop work order put on the project, so currently they are unable to do any improvements until they get the proper approval.
Right, so we're being asked to review the increased heights of the roof, the windows, and the landscaping.
Correct, in the
si-
sign.
and the
Correct,
sign.
correct.
Sign.
I just lumped them all under site improvements.
Hi, my name is Christina Colano. With the exception of the sign, the landscaping was actually already previously approved, but we're happy to discuss some of the concerns that were raised by the neighbor. Initially, the building was proposed at a shorter height. The difference was 4 feet in overall height. The condition of the roof was so dilapidated that it was falling apart as we were trying to brace the sidewalls. At that point, we decided to switch to trusses, and we did increase the height, not realizing that the 4 feet, without changing any of the other exterior materials, was going to be something that needed to be presented before the design review board again. since we were coming in front of you, we brought the sign and we added the windows to the front.
What business are you in there?
I'm an interior designer and my husband's a general contractor.
Nice. Well, I'll just start with, do we deal with the Norway spruces and now that the one neighbor was referring to?
I would recommend that, yeah.
Okay, so why don't we just start with the first one off of Orchard Lake Road? How big do those Norway spruces get? They can grow pretty tall, can't they? And
They can. I mean, it's not going to be 48 inches when it gets installed.
but they'll go up quite a bit.
They will.
And then they get large this way too.
They
right?
do. We're trying to block some of the noise from Orchard Lake.
Oh.
It's very busy at that intersection, but I don't,
Is there another option you could look at there that would be less visual?
Yeah.
Because that road has really picked up in traffic over the years, and I'm really great to see this happening
So
because
it's like
I
here.
go up and down that, and I've seen it. Those few buildings in a row that are just so dilapidated.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's bad.
it's great to see you doing this.
Thank you.
But I think the other neighbor had a very good point about being able to visualize the traffic.
Yeah, we don't want to impact her ability or anyone's ability to be able to see, so we can definitely revisit that.
So maybe revisit that, and the roadway pulling out of her driveway, maybe kind of revisit the same thing too.
I think that there might have been a little bit of an error on that plan, to be honest with you, from like overlaying the landscaping and revising it a few times. The bottom two definitely can be removed, but the one that's closest to the building is on our property.
Okay, well, we can put that in our motion as it goes to the ZBA.
Okay.
To make
Does
those
it have to go to
changes,
ZBA?
right?
It doesn't have to go to ZBA because the sign complies,
Okay,
and because these are site improvements, it does not necessitate a variance.
okay. Great.
So which one is that the house back there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without an address?
Yes, I believe, yeah.
That's your house
And
right
that's-
there,
that-
right?
That's in the B1 zoning? That
Yes.
house?
Yes,
Looks
it
like
is.
Yes, yes.
You know, can I say,
Mm.
my house and the house behind it, my door, are two of the original houses in the Old Orchards. I found aerial photography on Oakland County's website, which is AFC. The oldest one that I was able to find was 1940, and both buildings are there. My house and the house behind it.
10 feet.
My house was built in 1925.
Nice.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Dave.
thank you. So we have to approve what then, the signage?
So where do we leave it with the trees?
This one.
You're gonna have to,
Those two.
the three at the bottom, and then the one at the top right on the corner. They're all Norway spruces. And the three that are coming off of Wellington, she was saying that she may not be able to see coming out of her driveway. And then,
Or they're on her driveway.
yeah, or they're
The
on.
two bottom ones, I think, are in error.
So how many would you be putting?
The one closest to the building.
And
This
that's
one?
another Norway spruce you're thinking,
We want it to be an evergreen, just for
some
the.
sort? Okay,
Can I also add that there is utility access right there. The water department was nice enough to be able to come out one day afternoon because I was concerned when I saw this.
Okay.
You have water access, you have your new sewer line, and there's gas lines right there.
If it's a big issue, we can remove it. I honestly was trying to help create a buffer between your house so you weren't looking at the back of our building. If it's an issue for you, we can revisit
something,
it and
Andrew,
remove
that you
it. I
can
don't
work
I don't want to make it an issue for you.
forward?
I would recommend that the applicant revise their landscape plan, and I'd be more than happy to share it with the resident.
Okay,
It
We-
sounds
we
like she's already stated that
right.
there appears to be an error on the plan.
Uh-huh.
So that's the first time I'm made aware of that. So I think that we could probably certainly, if she's
You can
willing
handle that
to,
internally?
we could do that administratively and work
Okay,
with
wonderful.
with them, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
Great.
But that doesn't negate the whole
Okay,
landscape
sure.
plan now, right?
No.
We're just talking about the trees.
We're talking about the trees, yeah.
Then what's the next one we have?
And then the
to-
sign?
the
Mhm.
sign.
Yep. The sign complies with the ordinance. It meets the setbacks and meets the, it's 21 square feet. I just want to point out that they're kind of doing like a reverse landscape plan where they're doing the boxwoods behind the sign.
Yeah,
I think maybe the design of the sign, they're really trying to showcase it more of a, So I can understand it doesn't really have that distinguished sign base that we're usually trying to kind of screen. So I'll leave that to the discretion of the board regarding screening the sign in the front.
You want to go back and show us that
Sure.
picture again?
Keep going the wrong way on my PowerPoint today.
Right.
Because you like to see,
Yeah, the sign looks great. I mean, usually I think the screening at the bottom is just to cover up, you know, a platform or something that's
Yeah.
not. The
This
sign
is-
goes straight to the ground.
Mhm.
So,
I think it looks nice.
thank
do
you.
we have to approve the sort of revised site plan? Is that?
Correct. I would just say as a site improvement in the windows.
I'm good with it.
Well, I guess I'll try to make a motion that we approve the revised site plan, subject to the changes in landscape discussed to be approved administratively. We got everything?
And the site.
Sign.
Oh, and the sign is presented.
Okay, great.
Did you see the trash?
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? Okay, done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that going to be an issue?
A great addition to the community.
Thank you.
Good luck.
There's a receptacle with 95 gallons in the
All right,
bottom
number
left
C,
corner of
site
the
plans,
parking lot.
2285 Franklin Road, Ace Pickleball.
Huh?
Needs to be screened with a masonry screen wall.
Masonry?
So you have to provide that.
Thanks a lot.
Good luck.
Okay, now onto the big
2285
stuff.
Franklin Road.
Yes. Okay. Not sure if you guys have heard of something called pickleball. We have a proposal at 2285 Franklin Road. This is actually a site plan application, so this is their first stop. They will be going on to the Planning Commission as well as the Township Board. Luckily, they do not have any variances associated with this proposal, so that's one less stop for them. As you can see up on your screen, the proposed area is located off Hewlett Drive up in our Research Park district. The existing building, which is located at 2285 Franklin Road, the building is, the proposed tenant is to occupy approximately 28,000 square feet for the tenant space, plus a mezzanine, coming out to be a total of 30,000 square feet. So looking at I'm getting ahead of myself, but looking at the site plan, you can see that there is actually an adjacent property located immediately to the east. Just want to note that the applicant has provided that there is a shared parking, a reciprocal parking agreement between those two properties that has been submitted. So just to point out that there is an agreement that's been longstanding in which the tenants of 2285 as well as over at 550 can intermittently use each other's parking, so that's not an issue. And also just want to note that where the property line is located to the east of the building, you can see that blue line kind of separating the two. That's an existing condition. So even though they don't have the required parking lot setbacks and landscaping, we're looking at this as an existing condition. And since they're not changing the exterior, we can accept this as an existing non-conforming condition. So externally, the applicant is really not making any changes. The building, we have some photos of the building as it is now. Actually, I'm jumping ahead too. Let me go back. So here you can see the proposal for the interior build out. They're proposing a total of 11 pickleball courts. And they are Ace Pickleball. We're very happy to have been working with this applicant. This is a franchise organization, which other tenants, there are other Ace Pickleballs that do exist throughout the country. I put some promotional materials within your packet to give you an opportunity to kind of review their business plan, their business model. From a land use standpoint, this is considered it's considered a recreational use, which is a special land use in the research park. So this is similar to, we have other interior sports training activities that occur up in Research Park. The good news is this is interior, so we don't have to worry about any of the any ancillary noise concerns, view, and things like that maybe typically we'd run into with an outdoor. This is open to the public. There's memberships in which an applicant can apply, be a membership to the club. They also are proposing a mezzanine area, which would include actually, these are the promotional applications that I put within your packet. So you can kind of get a look of what the interior of this building would look like. And this would be the mezzanine area that I mentioned. Have an area to, sit down, gather. They are not asking for a liquor license. I just want to make note of that. This is something that at this time they're not interested in seeking that. But interesting enough, you can see the projected club openings over the next 5 years. So we can see that we're heading on a very upward trajectory when it comes to these type of recreational uses. We don't have anything like this in the township, and we're happy to introduce this new use in the township. And again, this is the exterior of the building. The applicant did provide us with a updated landscape plan, just so we could ensure that that everything is in good condition and that they do meet the intent, and there's no areas that need to be improved at this time. We're happy with the condition of the building as it is. The parking will be the ingress and egress to the building. Nothing is changing related to that. They are going to have some handicap parking that they're going to be locating closer to the entrance of the actual pickleball, Ace Pickleball area. And we have had this reviewed by our various departments. They do not have any issues. Here's the landscape plan that I spoke of earlier, indicating what they currently have on site. I also do want to note that they are required to have a loading area, as well as their compact and dumpster enclosure is located here to the east of the building. So they're just using what they currently have. Again, so no external site changes to the site. They're not asking for any signage at this time for the exterior of the building. So it's pretty straightforward. With that, I can happy to answer any questions, but I do know that we have representatives here from ACE, which would probably be happy to share with you a little bit of their experience in their business model with you.
I'm Matt Sossin. Good to see you. Good to see you, Michael, again. How are you? We're really excited about this. Just so you know, this would be our second location. We're currently under construction in Grand Rapids for our first location. Right now, there are 11 Ace Pickleball clubs open across the country. There's 4 under construction, ours being one of them, and then there's another 12 in development. Plus, I think they have sold about 100 other locations. So. Very, very experienced franchise, which was important to us. Most of the people at Ace Pickleball Club came from the trampoline park area, so just a lot of experience. That's something that we liked. Our business model is a little different than some of the others you may have seen coming. There's a lot coming. We are all open play. So you can come in anytime during the day and get a game. And so it's open play and service. So we're almost the employees are more like pickleball concierges, making sure that everybody's having fun, that everybody's in the right game, and that it's just a great experience. So as you can see from some of the pictures that we showed you of the interior, it's a very high level of finish, and it is solely pickleball. So. I think Andrew mentioned that we are not asking for a liquor license at this time. We will never ask for a full-blown liquor license. It is just pickleball. And obviously, if we have events, we bring in, pizza and subs. But in terms of like what we provide, it's water and Gatorade and some protein bars. That's about it. So pretty simple, so that we can focus on pickleball, because that's what we're here to deliver.
I do want to mention that the traffic in parking was reviewed. They did present a parking study, and that was accepted by our traffic engineer, Fishbeck. They do find that the parking provided on space, which is a total of 346 parking spaces, would be enough to accommodate this use.
Driven down there, there's not a lot of activity going on down that road.
It'll be, but again, it's off hours, so, it doesn't affect the office uses. I think it matches up perfectly to the existing uses there.
Great. It looks wonderful.
Thank you.
Just to review their hours of operation, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Saturday, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. 10 p.m. a few times a month for Run Glow Ball. And Sunday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So typically in our business districts, we do require special land use approval for hours of operation before 7 a.m. and after 9 p.m. We do not have that within the research park, but I just at least wanted to share with you so you understand what the hours are being presented.
So I thought, Andrea, you mentioned earlier there was a special land use component to this. Remind me what, if it's not hours, it's...
It's because of the actual use. It's under training. It falls under that special land use classification.
Got it. And that's what requires the planning commission and the board.
Correct. And really just the impact of the site, the potential impact of the site. So it's all been reviewed comprehensively as a site plan.
So do you need a foursome to come into play, or can a
No, so that's,
single
I mean,
person- you get a pickup game?
Anybody can come in. I mean, once we have, the velocity of the memberships, yeah, you come in as a single. And some people, usually like what I saw when I visited the first location in outside of Atlanta, you'll get groups that come in together, even, partners, they'll come in together, and then you'll see them playing in separate games after a while. The way it works is you could come for an hour, or you can come for 8 hours. So even if you came, with your friends, you end up probably playing in different games, maybe coming back. So it's pretty flexible.
And does it looks like this is going to occupy about a little under half the building?
About a third of the building.
About a third of the building?
Yes.
What's on the other side?
Office tenants.
Office is the remaining balance of the building.
And there's sufficient sound barrier, I'm assuming, internal.
They're putting a
between the-
demising wall,
Yeah.
a fire demising wall between this use, which is required by our fire marshal. So I believe that would be adequate to provide a sound barrier.
Yes.
Great. Looks wonderful.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, will I make a motion?
I move we approve the site plan and send it on to the planning commission.
Support?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, pass. Way to go, Matt.
Thank you very much.
Forward to
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good to see you.
When will it be open?
I would say probably like, August, September is probably when we'd be open.
Good luck.
Great.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Looking
Okay,
forward to it.
we'll see you on Monday. Thank you. Okay. Okay, lot going on in the township.
That's great.
Okay.
1952 Telegraph Road.
Yeah. So the next proposal that we have before you is it's a request from the Sidecar Slider Bar. This is a business which does exist elsewhere, very close by in Birmingham. There's another location, as well as there's a location in Brighton. And I believe that there's a few other locations elsewhere. So with this proposal, it is a request to locate it is a restaurant with a Class C liquor license. So that would be a special land use with the Class C liquor license associated with it. The property is located adjacent to Carl's Golfland, so north of Squirrel Lake, on the west side of Telegraph Road in the shopping center. This tenant space specifically was formerly the Big B Coffee, as well as after that it was High Octane Coffee. So it's the end cap space there that's closest to Telegraph. The proposal is to combine some existing suites to create an overall of 4,128 square feet is the projected area. And as you can see here, as I stated earlier, it's B3. So this would be a permitted use within the B3 classification. Here is a letter from the applicant giving a review of the proposal, as well as here is the site plan. Again, the main exterior element to this proposal is they do want to incorporate an outdoor patio. The proposed outdoor patio is to be located, you can see this shaded gray area represents the overall tenant space in the restaurant. And then they're also proposing a exterior patio, which would be include, it has been, so it would remove the drive-through operation. That would be no more. Okay, this would replace that. That's the main exterior element at this time, as well as the signage. The shopping center, anytime we have a Class C liquor license within a shopping center, they are required to provide a shared parking study. That shared parking study has been applied for and reviewed by our traffic engineer, indicating that based on the different uses, hours of operation, and peak time, that they have adequate parking to be able to support this use within that shopping center. Many of us are familiar with that site. It is oftentimes a pretty empty parking lot. So introducing this Class C liquor use within the shopping center has been approved. So the proposal for the exterior patio, the applicant, you can see a layout provided here. We've kind of been in conversations with the applicants, so it's been a little in flux in terms of what their proposal is for the exterior perimeter of that patio. I just want to note that the patio and the circulation around the patio has been reviewed by our fire marshal and fire department. The applicant has provided an adequate 26-foot wide drive aisle width around that patio to satisfy the fire marshal and our fire truck. So I just want to note that that's an important part of that is the health and safety of the site. You can see the layout. The applicant is proposing a similar outdoor experience that you would get at a lot of restaurants in the area now. They want to do some outdoor seating. They want to have a gas fire pit located within this area. And their proposal at this time is which is the direction we're going with moving forward, is that they're going to propose to do a 42-inch high brick wall with a fence on top of it, and then adding the vegetation you can see around the perimeter would be arborvitae. So there would be adequate separation between the parking lot and the outdoor dining area that satisfies our building official as well as the fire marshal. Additionally, anytime a restaurant has more than 50 seats, this patio does require, in accordance with our fire marshal, it does require ingress and egress from this patio space. So you can see that there is a schematic here showing that there will be a gate located in that area to provide that egress and ingress as required. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions. I do want to highlight the hours of operation for the business. Just to note that the shopping center has, according to the parking study, the applicant does, there's 132 parking spaces on site, and based on the evaluation with the parking study, they're saying that that at any required time that they would have quite less than that, around. They would say that, I'm sorry, they were saying that there would have 77 spaces would be required, and they have 132 spaces. I'm not sure if that's accurate. Let me just pull up the review. So just to note the other tenants in the building, one's currently vacant, Miracle Ear, Athletico, Physical Therapy. There's another vacant building, and Wine Guy. So those are the retail spaces. F45, a credit union, Lumar Laser, and T-Mobile store, and then there's a mechanical space. So all pretty low users, which kind of complements this proposed use. So that's what we're looking at when we do a shared parking study. They're saying that the proposed Slider Bar restaurant has a parking requirement of 1 per 75 square feet per our ordinance. Based on that, the existing shopping center with the proposed Slider Bar, the overall site would require 130 spaces. However, they're saying that in this instance that there would be a requirement of, to the end here. Let's see, the proposed shopping center renovations include the proposed shopping. Let's see. They're stating that the peak times would require, they have 132 parking spaces on site, and they're saying during peak times the requirement would be 112 parking spaces. So with the 130 and the 112 being determined based on the shared traffic study, that would give us a surplus of parking. So the ingress and egress to the site remains the same off Telegraph Road, as you can see highlighted here on your screen. And I do want to show the examples of the proposed signage. They are proposing at this time to have a sign facing the parking lot as well as facing Telegraph. We will, as part of your requirement today that we're just going to ask you to consider the site plan. We would ask that the applicant makes a design review board application and ultimately probably a zoning board application for 2 signs, but at least wanted to show you an example of similar signage that they have at their other locations. The applicant, I also want to note that they're doing they're adding a canopy that will come and cover a partial portion of the outdoor patio space. And between as you can see highlighted in that bottom picture, this is the canopy that I'm referring to. The applicant is planning on installing a glass-style garage door similar to this, which would be the gateway between the interior of the building and the exterior to the patio itself, as well as also offering that the canopy during inclement weather, they would use a vinyl type screening, which is not uncommon. We did have something similar to this at the Maple Theater previously. So just trying to capture that outdoor environment and allow people to kind of have out, and that's really one of their big draws, and I think it's going to complement the business area pretty well in that area. So that's what the proposal is. Again, the 42-inch parameter would be required around the exterior of the patio. And this is kind of just some examples. The applicant has provided some examples of what their intention is in terms of creating the overall aesthetic of that outdoor area.
Nice.
Okay?
So Patty, go back to that fence. You said there's a brick wall with a fence on it.
That's what they're proposing.
Okay.
They're proposing to do a 4-foot-high masonry wall with a fence on top of it.
What would that fence material be?
Black aluminum. And I'm going to make sure that I've actually spoke to the applicant this morning. We're going to have a full schematic that will be presented and be in the Planning Commission packet tomorrow. He's still finalizing a few of those items, but I just want you guys to know that there will be a secure patio space, and the design will consist of a fencing and brick, as well as the arborvitaes, which would be planted on the inside of that fence.
And again, the purpose of that brick wall and the fence is to divide the outside patio to the parking lot?
Correct. And the Liquor Control Commission does require a 42-inch high barrier around the exterior. How they don't determine how that barrier is met, whether it's concrete planters, whether it's something that's going to be sufficient enough to protect those that are in that patio area. So it doesn't define it. This is really for the protection of the patrons that are in that patio area.
The concern is that the cars are going all the way around it, right?
Have access, yes.
Correct.
Right, the
So
cars can go all the way around. So I mean, if somebody
Right.
hit it,
They can't get in.
well, is 4 feet enough? I mean, it's a 4-foot wall, you said?
is the
The
applicant,
brick And then the lumen on top.
Yeah,
of
the
it.
load is like a stop a car.
Mm.
I mean, like,
I'm sorry, the applicant is not here. I was under the
here.
impression that he'd be over here, so I apologize.
That's all right. But it's 4 foot of brick and then it's the aluminum fence on top.
That's currently what they're proposing. Yes, that's what's been provided on their site plan.
And
Make sure.
And did we do a study about the traffic that goes around the building there? Again-
That was reviewed by our fire marshal, correct?
Okay, the fire marshal.
Site circulation.
Yeah, I did look at
Yes.
that. Okay. I mean, is there a lot of traffic that goes around that?
Correct, yeah, they have, I'll show you the site plan. With the dimension.
The only reason really I can recall was that they would come around, there used to be the pickup window.
Yeah, pickup window there.
Otherwise, there's no real reason to.
They're really, to be, I second what Martin is saying, because really, if you're gonna circle around this patio area, for some reason, you're accessing this rear of this building,
Mhm.
which really, it originally was used for that drive-through operation. So the 26-foot, Michael, per the fire marshal,
Mhm.
is the pinch point from the patio to the edge of the other curb. So
Mhm.
they have demonstrated it's a 26-foot requirement. So there's 26 feet
Mhm.
on that side. So that's large enough to accommodate our largest fire truck. So for a vehicle to drive through there, I wouldn't anticipate that would be any issue, especially with the very defined patio space.
Otherwise, it's probably just delivery trucks or something like that.
Correct.
So it's not very narrow, is what you're saying. Because
Correct,
if
it's
it could fit a
26
if it
feet.
could fit a fire truck.
Correct, correct.
Okay. And which three units or is Miracle Ear staying, or because I couldn't tell from the pictures?
He's gonna take about 5,000 square feet, I think is what I heard, understand, right? So it's,
4,300.
so is Miracle Air moving down to create more interior
Well, is
space?
Miracle Air leaving and they're taking that space, or is that, because I only saw in the picture, I only saw like 2 doors, so I wasn't sure how that
I
would
think
work.
that's just the space where the coffee shop
Right,
is.
see, here's Miracle Air, and then here's one door, and then here's the other door, so there's only 2 doors here. So is that 3 units?
I think he's taking 5,000 square feet, so I'm not sure how much that would be of the spot.
I can certainly get that answer. As part of the analysis from the parking study, they did include Miracle Ear as a tenant.
Okay.
So that was never taken offline in terms of the square footage. I don't know if I really want to base it on that, but based on this, Miracle Ear is staying, but I don't know
Well,
if
I
that's
mean, I'm
really
just-
the
I'm just
formal
looking at the
answer.
picture, and there's only 2 storefronts that are there, so I'm just curious how there's a third, but that's neither here nor there. So the applicant's not here, you said?
No, I hope everything's okay. No, unfortunately, he's not here with us.
Okay, so what are we approving, or?
This will be forwarded on to the planning commission, where then they would review it, and then ultimately it'll come before the township board, because again, this is a restaurant with a Class C liquor license.
Okay, do we have to approve the liquor license?
Correct, yes. The applicant has made the application to the clerk's office for their liquor license.
Do we have is that one of our quota licenses?
Yes. I got that right, don't I? Thought so, yes.
Uh,
Class C quota license.
And I also just want to note that, the hours of operation proposed are 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. So that may also be a point of discussion, the 12 a.m. Anything after 9 p.m., again, is that special land use. So I want to point that out to you as well as their proposed hours of operation.
Is there any residential zoning nearby? I don't think so.
Well,
Not
directly behind, they do abut up to the, Square Lake condos. However, in looking at the aerial, we've determined that the property actually abuts up to the carports. Let me pull up the aerial here so you can see
They're on the
better.
backside.
So it's still quite a distance from that residential.
It's the other side too, the
Correct,
other side of the strip mall backs up to the carports.
correct.
So they're-
So here we go. So this would be the residential here.
And
And you can see that this line along here
Carl.
are carports.
Sitting outside
So
the
the
light.
activity is up here.
be the hope.
And there's no access to Carl's, right?
Not yet. Pedestrian. But I just say that because I imagine that it would be frequented by members of Carl's. They seem to go hand in hand.
This is planned to be on the agenda for next week's planning commission.
Monday.
Correct.
Monday.
I know he'd like to get open by, I think, the Masters tournament, that's what I heard.
Okay. I don't have a problem.
Pardon me? Are you part of the applicant? No. Okay.
Then I'll make a motion that we approve as submitted and send it on to the planning commission.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's approved. It'll be in 2 more boards, so you can come in and make a comment, and if you have any suggestions at that time.
Talk to us after, or
Yeah, they do note on here that they're taking 3 tenant spaces to accommodate the construction.
Right.
So there are 3 suites that are being combined into the one. But I guess I'd have to determine whether or not that includes Miracle Ear. I don't know. In my head. Okay, well, thank you.
Okay, 2165 Telegraph Road.
Let's keep rolling. Okay, next proposal is for another site plan. This instance is not a special land use, it's a permitted use. So this, the site that we're looking at 2165 Telegraph Road It is one of our vacant, actually, I think I know why this is doing this. I gotta click this. There we go. That's better. This is one of our vacant properties that's located along Telegraph Road, north of Square Lake, on the east side of Telegraph. This is commonly known or referred to previously as our Christmas tree lot. So the address 2165, this is part of the shopping center, and the applicant is proposing to construct a 3,400 square foot credit union building. This is for the DFCU credit union. The property, as you can see, is zoned B2. It's kind of hard to get the entire site on one screen and still be able to get a good view. But you can see the lighter shade of pink indicates the B2. This is a permitted use. The credit union with drive-through is permitted. So here is the design as being presented by the DFCU credit union. It is approximately, as I stated earlier, 3,400 square feet. The good thing about this proposal is at this time they're not asking for any variances. So they were able to develop a project which complies with all the provisions of our zoning ordinance. Ultimately, down the road, we will again ask them to come back for signage when they come up with their final signage package. So you'll be seeing them again when they're ready for that. So you can see the design schematic provided on your screen. And you can see the drive-through, the teller window, and the teller canopy is actually located to the rear of the building, so it is not visible from Telegraph Road. Also noting that they are proposing a dumpster enclosure and a masonry enclosure, which is required with this project. And the materials, so in terms of their landscape plan, I do have to say that, here's an example of the dumpster enclosure, which is required. So you can see that they are also going to be adding some plantings around the exterior of that dumpster enclosure. Here is the proposed floor plan of the building, indicating those 3 drive-through teller windows underneath the canopy to the rear of the building. Example of the elevations. And we also have the architect here that would be more than happy to review with you the building materials. We do have a building material board too that we can share with you if you'd like to look at that.
I like the design, it's sharp.
So in terms of the actual, the layout of the site, they are required to have parking. They're required to have a total of, they have 30 parking spaces, which exceeds the required parking spaces. So they have adequate parking as it relates to the use of the credit union. Typically a relatively low generating user. So seems to be because of that, they're able to accommodate all the appropriate circulation and parking on their site and meet all the qualifications. So I also do want to note that their landscape plan was reviewed and approved by our landscape architect. And I was actually kind of talking with the applicant earlier and explaining to them that our landscape architect called us and said, this is the first time I've really had nothing to comment about with the landscape plan, because he was so thoroughly impressed with the use of native vegetation and being a little bit more outside the box, but also making sure that we always want to make sure that the consistency along that business corridor is compatible. So they are installing similar trees, as you can see on the Valvoline lot, and along the Costco, you can see a similar line of sight as you drive down Telegraph. So that is what they're proposing. Very robust landscaping, as you can see here, with a wide variety of vegetation. So nothing as it relates to the landscaping requiring any variances. Their lighting, they did submit a lighting photometric study showing that the maximum height of the parking lot mounted lights will be no more than 20 feet. They will be downward facing, which is required in accordance with the ordinance, as well as any rooftop mechanicals. I just want to note that with any rooftop mechanicals, they are required to be screened from view. The applicant is proposing a decorative metal screen that will completely obscure the metal equipment and the RTUs. I've already touched upon the masonry dumpster screen wall with wooden gates, as well as the study. The hours of operations proposed are 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Is that accurate? Okay, I may have to be corrected on that one. That seems a little late. That seemed a little late for the plan. So the applicant is here. We have the whole team from DFCU Credit Union that I'm sure that they would like to probably share with you. They're I think hopefully very looking forward to this project, and I'm sure they can answer any questions that you may have. But again, as I stated, this has been reviewed by our various departments and consultants, and at this time there are no extenuating concerns and no variances. So with that, if anybody would like to, or if the board would like to have anybody from the audience come up and share the proposal.
Are there any, this is going to go next to the planning board?
Correct, and ultimately Township Board.
And there's really no variances of any kind, correct?
Correct.
And so all we have to do is say, let's go to planning and get this approved, and so they can start moving forward.
And we're not addressing the signs. No.
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 Most of the people in the audience here are from the credit union.
Yeah,
so.
it's a fabulous presentation and materials.
Yeah.
It's one of the most complete that I've seen sitting here.
I wouldn't, if you guys wouldn't mind, I think the architect would come up here and he can talk about the different
Can I ask
materials,
you a
because there are
question?
different materials. Yes, Michael.
So are they keeping the existing cuts to the internal service drives?
Correct. They're not making any changes to this is the layout.
Where will the Christmas trees go?
Well, so
The Costco parking lot.
Okay, well.
and
No, this is
and the fire marshal has looked at the ingress and egress coming in off of Telegraph.
That would be something that would have been reviewed under the traffic review.
Mhm.
When we're talking about ingress and egress to the site and safety and traffic numbers.
Yeah.
They did provide a traffic analysis that was presented by TADI traffic analysis, and that report was reviewed and approved by our traffic engineer, Fishbeck.
Mhm.
Again, a relatively low traffic user, so I think that it's already a highly trafficked area, so the addition of this use isn't going to create any negative impact.
Well, no, I'm more concerned about the internal circulation, because you're coming in off of that two-way drive from Telegraph, and then you've got cars coming from both directions, coming from the drive-through lane and from the parking lot, and they're meeting all at once. And
Looks like you have members of the team that.
and
would go
you've got a one-way bypass with the egress out to the service drive that runs, I don't know, what is that, north-south, behind the property, going back to the shopping center?
One more.
One more?
Yeah, that's probably cleaner.
Oh, I have the truck. We have the truck.
Yeah, okay.
Here we go.
Hi. We're both from Our Concepts Architects, Shirley Ganem and Andrew Laschuk. Basically, regarding the site, we have not made any changes to the entrance from Telegraph. We're keeping the same existing two-way traffic road. Our entrance, we pulled back far enough, hopefully with your approvals, to rely on the ingress and egress traffic. There is another alternate route to go up into the mall ring road. If traffic does get heavy, members could very easily go around the building and exit the other direction through. So there's quite a bit of versatility in the site. I don't believe there's any congestion. Traffic studies and the original engineering review that your township uses has reviewed all that.
So what's the direction of the blue row of cars? Is it going out to Telegraph or in from Telegraph out to the shopping
Also,
center?
Telegraph is the bottom road running left.
No,
to
I know
right.
where it is. I'm just
Okay.
saying, are those cars going up and through this site into the shopping center, or are they coming from the shopping center through this site to Telegraph?
From above, you can come in both ways. That two-way traffic road is, what we did find out halfway through the design of our site, that road was indeed a two-way traffic road. Right now you have,
And it's a very busy road.
yeah, yeah. So our intent is for most of our traffic to come in off of Telegraph Road. However, they could enter in from the ring road if it's a little bit too heavy to back up to make your turn. You can enter in from the ring road.
They're
So it
not
does
sup-
give
they're
you
not
a
supposed to go.
circular pattern of traffic, especially for fire. We're very conscious of fire department access and circular access to it. And I think we
Right, well,
provided that.
My concern is right here at this stop. If you've got traffic coming in this way, you've got traffic coming down this way, you've got traffic coming up this way, they're all meeting right in that middle.
Well, when you come in from Telegraph from that vertical road, enter point to the entry road, yeah, you can only make a right turn at that point. You can't go left because that's the traffic from the drive-through. So you will only make a right turn.
Right, and so then you'll kind of join up with the traffic that's coming out of the drive-through, coming back to that line that says do not enter. And then
If-
you've got potentially
yeah.
cars coming up from the parking lot, and then you've got cars turning in from the road from Telegraph, and they're all meeting in the same spot. And there's no control device there to regulate that.
I just want to point out that the traffic study did indicate that they're going to generate approximately 369 driveway trips during a typical weekday, 23 driveway trips in the weekday AM, and 77 driveway trips in the weekday PM. So they're relatively, the traffic study is indicating that that would be the averaging of the people that would be traveling for this location.
And again, if the members that are in the drive-through do not want to go out that exit lane leading to the Telegraph Road, they can go back through the site, up through the ring road, and then enter from a further distance. So it does allow, like I said, a lot of versatility between the heavy traffic hours and the lighter traffic hours.
Right, so you're saying that if they come out of the drive-through, make that left, and they don't want to turn right to get back to the Telegraph entrance, they can keep going down into the parking lot and then curve back around and go out through the ring road. you
That's
said.
correct.
Right, so again, the cars are coming out of the drive-through, going through that intersection. You got cars coming in from Telegraph, and you got cars coming from the parking lot who want to get back out to Telegraph. And they're all meeting in that one spot.
What is the width of the drive that's along the inbound service lane? Is the width of that ingress driveway sufficient for two-way traffic?
You talking about the existing one or ours?
Your proposal, where you I don't
You
have
know
a
how wide
pointer.
our road is? Our entrance to our property. So 24 and then 30.
So is it adequate for cars
like
to be turning
a credit,
right
you know,
and cars to be turning left to have adequate drive aisle, not to have a conflict?
Yeah. Because there's no
Typical one-
parking. We haven't put any parking straight ahead, so we left that all clear for the wider turns.
Down the street, they only have entrance, exit off of the Telegraph and then into that other behind. They don't have anything to the side. At least this one is to the side.
I mean, if it were me,
The light is on it?
I would have blocked
No,
off that
no.
spot right there where it says do not enter, had people come out of the drive-through, make the right, and force them to go out the ring road. They could have made the left to go back to Telegraph. And then you got the people who, again, stay to this side of the wall and can go back out easily or go up that way. That's
You're thinking you want them to always be forced to go up to the ring road.
right, because then you don't have them coming down and meeting that other.
I think the majority of people
Yeah,
probably will.
that's all
We
I'm
do
saying.
have it.
I think the engineer is coming up.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Jason Sutton. I'm the civil engineer on the project. We've looked at the traffic extensively, and banks, credit unions, any business of this sort anymore really sees very low traffic. So based upon our traffic survey or traffic study, I don't believe there's any issue. There's the drives around the site are 26 foot per the fire marshal. The drive in front of the building is 30 foot. The drive out to the ring road, which if I can find the right sheet,
I put it up on the,
I just told you 24 feet, but I'm thinking it's wider than that.
it has to be 26 according to fire marshal. And I believe that their staff report says 26 feet.
It's actually 28 feet. We've massaged this thing as well as we can to just blend with what's there right now. So I understand your concern, but my professional opinion, I don't see it as a realistic concern.
I mean, I agree. If it was a busier site, that could be a choke point, but with the volume expected, it just sounds like it's an issue that's a non-issue.
Well, prior to our client developing the site plan, you guys were looking at a Chick-fil-A there.
Well, we weren't looking at it.
Chick-fil-A was.
They were looking at it.
Good point.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough, but I mean, you want to talk about traffic.
And that's
This
why
is
it's
a
not
great,
there.
Right.
great proposal.
We've gone through 3 levels of revisions with your engineering teams. So we do feel that we've picked up all their concerns, and hopefully this will
And
meet
we've
yours.
met with the fire marshal multiple
Mhm.
times.
All right, would you like to make a motion, Martin?
Mm, I move we approve as submitted and forward to the Planning Commission for further review.
Support?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, you're approved. Good luck.
This,
Thank
I
you.
think it looks
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank
So
you.
great work. See you
Okay.
guys, the Board of Trustees.
All right. Next item up is Squirrel Road and South Boulevard, Noble Development.
Sure, I'll sit here.
Your mug guy?
Do.
Well, this is Chick-fil-A, honestly. At that site, Chick-fil-A. I mean,
We gotta find a spot for them.
it's something. I think they moved on.
They're coming to come back. But the problem is they get.
There we go.
They were just really squeezing it in there. This is a much
We
better
closed the
solution.
blinds.
I think so. It's a little like
Sign I thought was really.
underwater.
They were just chomping on the bit apparently, hoping Chick-fil-A doesn't go through.
Yeah.
Came up with something pretty
Oh,
fast.
is that right? Were they
Must
standing,
have.
were they waiting in the wings?
Must have, because it wasn't that long ago that Chick-fil-A. So.
I didn't call up my email.
Okay, Andrew, we're ready.
We're gonna give Andrea a break a little bit because she fired through all those. So I'm gonna go through this
Oh, great.
request for
Yeah.
Manchester. So this project has several components to the request.
Mhm.
First of all, just to orient yourself, and I think we're all very familiar with the location, but I was just provided this color site plan and landscape plan, so I want to be able to feature this as I'm describing the project. So this is at the southwest corner of South Boulevard and Squirrel. It is referenced as Manchester back in 2018. Some of you might remember that this was part of a development proposal that had, again, several components to it as it related to amendment to the master plan, a rezoning, a lot split, site plan reviews, and so forth, all of which were ultimately approved back in 2018. But in this instance, this component that you're seeing is actually the former commercial component of the bigger picture of the Manchester project. The Manchester project is well underway, has some finalization that's necessary, but as you drive by, you see that the development proceeded and is well suited for the area. applicant is now acquiring the commercial component of this property. So this will now be entirely a noble multifamily residential development, then resulting in 12 acres to be referred to as the noble. The proposal then, with the removal of the former, or the suggestion of the two commercial building sites, now there is a proposal to add one additional building to accommodate 5 additional residential units. And you're seeing that immediately to the right of the detention pond that's on the left side of the screen. Then you see a new driveway access from South Boulevard to mirror the entrance that is farther to the west, that is presently the access point to the residential development. And then on the other side, you're seeing parking and also now a clubhouse. The intention for that corner is to be the amenities for the Noble, Noble's residents. So it's a clubhouse, a pool, a pool deck area, there's a pergola, there's a dog park, open space, and landscaping to enhance that, that corner area. A significant feature is that no longer is there going to be an access drive to Squirrel Road. And that was one of which many of the neighbors, either on Squirrel or in the area, felt that that really was going to be an intrusion if that was going to be a commercial development. So no longer required nor necessary, you know, as this now is contained as the residential development. This proposal, because as I referred to it as the former commercial, the master plan called for this entire corner to be office, multifamily, and commercial. Office is the credit union that's farther to the west, which is an independent property, but the master plan called out for those uses to be sustainable, recommended in this area. They are intending to maintain that residential and commercial zoning classification, but there is a rezoning request to enlarge that multiple family RM portion to accommodate that additional building for those 5 units. So that is the rezoning component. The other is that currently in our zoning ordinance, we have a format of a zoning ordinance that will allow for lesser intense uses within a given zone district, either identified specifically as permitted uses or as referenced as a lesser intense zoning classification, such as like going from a B3 to a B2 or an OR1 to an O1. Or ML to a B3. And I'm saying that because there's consistency in a recommendation that we're going to be forwarding as a component to this request to amend our ordinance in the B2 district to allow for these multiple family accessory amenities when adjacent to a multiple family development. And that's found elsewhere in the township in our zoning ordinance, and it seems very appropriate with this application and this proposal. So that will be a part of the request. So the plan does speak to you know, the layouts of the units. There's 2 parking spaces for every of the 5 units. There's also 2-car garage, attached garage to each unit. The drive aisle has been met satisfactorily by the fire marshal. There's 12 parking spaces for the convenience of the use of the clubhouse. And then there is the dumpster enclosure, which is a separate drive access. You can see to the south you see the sidewalk that is flowing along the south side of the clubhouse, and the pool area is a paved sidewalk leading to the entrance, safety entrance to the dog park to the right. And there's enhanced landscaping. You can see the vegetation the green vegetation, we're depicting the evergreen screening so that it to be very well screened from the abutting frontage along Squirrel. And then on the north side of the clubhouse, you see an access drive. That is a service drive that leads to then an overhead garage door, if you will, for the for a service storage area within the clubhouse. The clubhouse is providing some very nice amenities for the Noble residents. Some of the examples were, let me just quickly find it. There'll be a gathering room, a fitness room, leasing office, a pet wash, cafe, pool storage and maintenance storage, and the intention again is that this is again a amenity very commonly found in multiple family or residential communities, and I think will be certainly an enhancement for our residents at that location. The various departments had the opportunity to review this proposal and found some notes within our review. The fire department identified standard site plan and building ordinance requirements that recently we did receive some updates from the applicant addressing the responses from the fire department, such as noting that there'll be no parking signs required in the fire lane. The Knox box remote power ball location installation will be approved by the fire marshal. There'll be a smoke alarm, fire alarm system that will be in compliance, and there'll be a Knox box. Very standard criteria. The applicant has responded, and those notes are being presented on the revised plans that we received. The police department has no objections to the proposal and notes no traffic impact concerns. Speaking of traffic, our traffic engineer did review the traffic proposal from the previous in concert with this proposal, clearly finding that there is a marked decrease in the number of trips and the impact to any of the existing roadways, and for that matter also a minimal impact to the existing multiple family development that was previously approved. Engineering has identified several areas as part of their typical review of the site related to civil engineering, utilities, access, construction. Their communication coupled with HRC's review has been submitted to the developer. They in turn have responded to the points that that engineering and HRC has expected. That is currently under review, but their intending is to be in full compliance with the expectations of both engineering and HRC. So that will be forthcoming as we present to the Planning Commission on Monday, a little bit further input from our engineering department. We did receive a letter from the developer that they have presented their request to the adjoining neighbors, and one of which we actually received a letter from John Herks, the president of Bloomfield North Estates Homeowners Association, specifically to Mr. Fernari, that there was unanimous concurrence of the Bloomfield North Estates Homeowners Association Board of Directors to support the proposed project as the additional development of the Noble apartment complex for the parcel at the corner. So that was certainly be part of our review and presentations before the Planning Commission and ultimately to the Township Board. When we do speak of accessory structures, and especially accessory structures on a corner parcel, and you're familiar with our Zoning Board of Appeals, accessory structures are only permitted in the rear yard. And so, as just stated, so the pool house and the other features such as the pergola, the dog park, the dumpster enclosure, those are all considered accessory uses and structures, and they're all in the front yard. So there are variances that are just inherent with this request, but they are, I think, being handled very carefully, very sensitively, And the landscaping is such that they're looking to really, if not screen it from the general public, which would be South Boulevard and Squirrel, but also for their, their internal residents. And along that southerly lot line, which really, for all intents and purposes, this will now become one continuous 12-acre parcel, but that is the line that was previously the demarcation of where the commercial was to be developed. And there's a very dense landscape buffer berm, if you will, that's along that that southerly line, and it will further enhance the screening, the separation, and the visibility between building and units. So I think they've done a very good job in that regard. Some of the incidental variances, the concrete drive necessary to be able to have, that service element for the clubhouse is encroaching in that green space in the front yard. So that'll be one of those variances. The fact that there's now a secondary entrance with piers and signage that will require going before the Zoning Board of Appeals because it's secondary signage. You're only allowed one sign. And also, fences and gates and piers are not permitted generally in the front yard, but they would have to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Many of these variances that I'm speaking of, which is just this continuation of the project, were previously granted prior to the for that 2018 project. So it's that mirroring effort, but one of which we do have to call out those variances. And Andrea, can you pull up the elevations that were part of the packet?
Yeah.
I think I've touched on all the site elements.
I'm sorry, I got out of there because I was trying to call up that plan for you. Sorry, was trying to call up that.
Okay.
Just a second.
Let's see if there's anything else that. The landscape was reviewed by Michael J. Dewell and Associates and recommended for the site plan review and the planning commission that that it be approved, meeting the intent of the zoning ordinance and and just acknowledging that those piers that were in the secondary frontage and landscaping, and the landscape walls and such would have to go, to the Zoning Board of Appeals. I included in the Design Review Board packet, this is what was shown back in 2018 when the proposal was presented as the commercial component. So I included it just as a point of reference of what what was previously approved and now what they are going to. So we can go beyond that. I think we described, much of the elements of the plan itself. I think we can get to the elevations. So they're intending to mirror the residential units that are presently found within the, the current, Noble development. So the use of, brick and horizontal siding and the brick-based ledge, asphalt shingles, paneled entrance doors and garages, some shake siding accents, all within the neutral palette. Is going to be a continuation and really look like it was originally planned for the project. And then in speaking to the lighting, they did present a photometric plan that shows the photo or the lighting to complement the existing residential units, and additional lighting is proposed for now the clubhouse. And that's a little different because obviously it's intended to be more an activity center, but they are utilizing. You can keep going forward.
Keep going?
Yeah, to get to the there you go. Let's get to the color one. Keep going. It's after this whole grouping.
Okay.
It's a small.
That one? Keep going?
Keep going. It's after this whole set. Metric, you can go through there.
Lights.
Here we go. Here we go. I think this is a beautiful presentation. Now, this was part of the packet. We did receive an upgrade, or a revision, I should say, because the dog enclosure will actually be a black fence to match the black fencing that's in the entrance along South Boulevard. But this is a depiction of what that is intended. So it's very residential in character to complement, the residential development. And I think you can see the intensity, the impact of this, lower profile single building presents a much different presentation than a two-story retail operation that would be at that corner. So the materials are presented in such a way that they are certainly complementary. I think there's one more, two, there we go. So there's different elevations. So there's different opportunities for the residents to be able to utilize a patio area in the back, the pool. There's adequate men and women changing rooms and so forth, and then obviously just the various activities just for those residents within the building. The uniqueness of, again, as these are accessory structures, is that, as you're familiar, accessory uses and structures are only allowed to be 14 feet, and we always measure to the peak. And so as a clubhouse is considered accessory use to the multifamily, it will exceed that 14 feet, so that will be a variance that will have to be sought. So again, the variances that we are speaking of are just inherent to having accessory structures and the character of what is being presented, and I think it's in keeping with the overall intent and low intensity and low impact of this project for that intersection. So with that, I can answer any questions, but we do have our team and owners here if you have any specific questions. And this is scheduled to be introduced at the Planning Commission on Monday, January 20th.
It's a nice looking project. Very nice.
I have a few questions, Patty. First, so this building, that's going to be a multifamily building, right?
I'm sorry.
The building across from the clubhouse?
Yes, it's 5
units.
one-story units. Yes.
Okay, so it just says building here. I just wanted to make sure that.
Yeah, it's the residential building. Yeah.
That was units. Okay, and the connection to the existing Monarch Drive, is that going to be open now? Because I believe in the past, isn't that a gate?
Correct. No, it will be open. Yes. So
Okay,
there'll be accessible circulation at all times.
Okay, so there's not going to be any gate there or anything like that.
No.
Okay. I think those were my only other questions. I mean, my only comment is, I think this even predates Martin, but this was a pretty controversial development when it came through, and especially this piece of it, which was designed to be commercial. So I think that this is really an outstanding use, and I'm very happy that I think it's great, and I think it's going to make the development all the more desirable. So those are my thoughts.
I think it looks great. I don't have any questions.
What a great turnaround in that
Change in
corner.
direction from commercial to this is
Yeah, fantastic.
makes a lot of sense to me. It's great for the residents, and
So do we need to put in the motion, do we need to put anything in our motion to move it to the?
To forward it on to the Planning Commission, yes.
That's all we need to do at this
We
point.
don't do any recommendation, right?
You certainly can, add your comments, but the actual action is to forward it on to the Planning Commission. And as I said, it has to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Then I'll make a motion that we, this is a site plan?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the site plan as submitted, forward it to the Planning Commission, and I'd like to add a recommendation that they approve it and forward it on to the ZBA. Also with recommendation, I don't know if we can do a double recommendation,
Sure,
but
okay.
a recommendation to the ZBA
Okay.
to consider the really outstanding use of the land. So.
there's a rezoning involved, right?
Yes, so it's a rezoning, a site plan, and there'll be an accompanying ordinance amendment because of the uniqueness of the accessory uses.
For the board, you mean?
Yes, for the for the B2 property component that's remaining in that corner.
So the township board will actually have to rezone it?
A portion of
Oh, okay.
where the residential unit is being constructed.
Okay.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
All right, our general business, recent design review board approvals.
We do not have anything.
So next week, we have our next meeting is Wednesday, February the 5th, and move for adjournment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, great.